Good rising, brethren. This is Big Judah coming to you guys in California. Before I begin, give all praise to the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledge Yahweh Shai. I pray the Most High blesses this lesson this evening, gives more knowledge and understanding of the events of the past, in order to understand events that are currently happening on the earth, so we need a much better understanding of the things that are soon to come on the earth. Brethren, we are going to be getting into it this evening. We're going to bring a lot of puzzle pieces together to give the true understanding of many of the things that are happening worldwide. Things that are happening right now in the physical world, as well as events that are transpiring in the spirit world. We must understand that as the Most High gives us more understanding, the world falls deeper and deeper into chaos. It's no coincidence that within the last week, we've been getting into some new information, some new understanding, getting into the Kabbalah, getting into some other history, making connections with our esoteric knowledge and understanding. The Most High is going to be giving us not only our intellectual powers, but he's going to be showing us the pathway back to the manifestation of powers like we had before. When you start reading about the mighty men in the book of Jasher, in the Bible, the things that our ancestors and patriarchs were able to do, things are going to be like it was before. It's going to be a repeat of history. The Most High has taken us from the head to the tail before, and he's restored us from the tail back to the head once again. He's done it multiple times, and he's going to do it again on a much grander scale. After the Most High is done with this place, no one's going to be talking about the things that he did in Egypt, because the great and wonderful and terrible things he's about to bring on this earth are going to be astronomical, and the things that they saw during the time of Egypt will pale in comparison. But just like the days of Noah, before the flood came, Noah was used to preach to the world, to offer them, a chance to repent. But the vast majority of the world, none of them were willing to repent. But what we're seeing right now, the Father is exposing the lies of the other nations. And that's exactly what we're going to be getting into today, family. We're going to be bringing out some understanding. We're going to be bringing out some books that have been hidden, and we're going to be able to get the understanding of many things. See, the Gentiles have been really good at being able to lie about certain things, lie about information, always trying to prop themselves up as the pinnacle of understanding and intellectualism. But you're going to find out tonight that it's all just been a ruse. And at the time of them to be able to, just put themselves up on a pedestal and no one even questioned them, those days are over. The abominable church is going to be exposed. Right now, they're still sitting high on the hog, still portraying themselves as, the pinnacle of religious, organization. And, they have the one-way line to God. But very soon, they're going to be just like this picture on the right. They're going to be made bare by the Most High. They're going to be exposed. We're exposing them already spiritually. We're exposing them intellectually. But the Father is going to bring that out and bring that on the physical scale. The Most High is going to be bringing destruction. But he has to expose them first. And that's what he uses his nation to do. And that's what he's using us as a family right now. And that's what we're going to be doing this evening. This is an article I saw a few days ago. And I don't know if you guys saw it too, but Black Catholics have a right to be frustrated with a church that ignores racism. Black Catholics push back against an Archbishop's claim that social justice movements are pseudo religions, fake religions, right? Okay, I'm going to read a little bit of this article. Okay, it was on MSNBC from November 26th. Okay, so according to Pew Research Center survey, faith among Black Americans, 3 million Black Americans are Catholic, but nearly half of those raised Catholic no longer identify as Catholic. So 50% of them, huh? 50% of people are starting to wake up. But see, don't make the mistake of, oh, I'm going to leave the Catholic Church. I'm going to go join a Baptist church because they don't like you either. They're racist too. All religions are racist against you because all religions are confederate against the Most High's chosen people. So you haven't made that connection yet. Why do you think a church that says it's all about love, it's about universalism, it's about us all coming together, but they constantly hate your ass? Why is it that all these churches are always hating on us, hating our people? Because they're all confederate against the Most High's chosen people. That's the one constant. They have dogma differences, theology differences, they have, different procedural differences, but the one thing they all agree on is that you are worth less than a dog. Your opinion means nothing. Payment for the sins against your people means nothing. Them being caught lying about who you are means nothing. Them being caught with your resources, with your land, with your names, with your inheritance means nothing. Because this is what they've been set up to do. It says November is Black Catholic History Month, but the faithful's ignorance of the historical issues of race, racism, and invisibility continue to strain Black Catholics' relationship with American Catholics and bishops. The insensitive and incendiary November 4th speech by Los Angeles Archbishop Jose Gomez, head of the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops, helps explain why. It says Gomez managed to offend Black Catholics, lay, and clergy alike. Gomez managed to offend Black Catholics, lay, and clergy alike with his ill-advised, ill-timed remarks about social justice movements being pseudo-religions. The speech given online to the Congress of Catholics and Public Life in Madrid obliquely referred to but avoided explicitly naming the Black Lives Matter movement, calling social justice movements a rival salvation narrative. Gomez went on to say social justice movements are political religious movements and replacements and rivals to traditional Christian beliefs. Well, yes, it is a rival to your traditional Christian beliefs because your traditional Christian beliefs are all about racism. That's why they set up these churches. They set up these churches to justify, especially these Christian churches, to justify slavery. See, if they painted our people as not human, then they wouldn't feel so bad about treating us so horribly for the last few hundred years with slavery. And they use these churches to make it seem as if you're never going to have to pay for the sins of your father. But we all have to pay for the sins of our fathers. We had to, and so will you. But these churches are set up to make you feel like, that's never going to happen because you're going to get raptured away before judgment falls. But you're still here. And if you haven't noticed, the Most High is raising up his people. See, he's raising us up right now in knowledge and spirit. He's tearing down your lies that you've set up for these hundreds of years. That's why you're so quiet. That's why you don't have a comeback to the things that we're bringing out. Because what we're bringing out is the truth. And the truth is what's universal, not your church. Your church has nothing to do about being universal. Your church has been set up for white supremacy. Your church has been set up to spread ignorance. Your church has attacked the people who have been set up to actually bring high-mindedness and wisdom and knowledge. Your church has been set up to destroy those people. And we'll be getting into that also in videos to come. But let's continue. Clearly, the Archbishop did not consider the Pew Research Center survey from February that showed 77% of Black Catholics consider opposing racism essential to their faith. This kind of white supremacist culture war talk from the head of the USCCB is frankly a disaster for the American church if it wants Black Catholics to remain in the pews. They don't care about you Black Catholics. They're surprised that you're still there because they've done nothing but ignore your concerns the entire time. And you're still coming and you're still giving them money because you don't think there's an alternative, because you think that they are your gateway to heaven. They're your only gateway to sudden destruction, to surely destruction. That's the only gate. That's the only pathway that they have, that they know that they're going to be destroyed, and that they're going to try to take as many people with them as possible. It says the negative reaction to the Archbishop's speech in America's Black Catholic community and the larger Catholic community was swift. As of Wednesday, more than 13,000 people had signed a petition condemning the Archbishop's remarks, calling for him to apologize and to stand with social justice movements as Pope Francis has. The National Black Sisters Conference, a group of Black nuns and religious orders across the United States, in a statement also called on the Archbishop to apologize. Oh, so you guys signed a petition for him to apologize. You can keep your apology, bruh. We don't care what you have to say. We already know that you guys are racist, that you guys hate so-called Black people. And we're going to prove that with the scriptures. You guys are the abominable church. You have been set up to kill and to put the Most High's chosen people in chains. That has been your MO, and that has been your agenda from jump. You've been doing all these things at the same time saying how much you love everyone, but being racist at the same time. And you got only 13,000 of all these a billion Catholics, and only 13,000 signed a petition. So that just shows you that the vast majority of people in the Catholic Church don't give a damn. They don't care. And you're still going to go to their pews. You're still going to go give them money because you don't realize that there's an alternative. And the alternative is the truth. If you love lies, keep with the churches. As soon as you actually leave the church, when you have the courage to actually walk away and actually follow the Most High, that's when you start to heal. That's when you start to grow. As long as you are a part of all these churches, you can't grow. It's not possible because the churches have been set up to keep you in ignorance. Now, if you want to read the rest of this article, you may go right ahead. I only wanted to read a little bit of it because that's what these churches are set up for, to destroy the Most High's chosen people. The vast majority of these Catholics don't realize anything about Dum Diversas right here. The papal bull Dum Diversas, June 18th, 1452. This has been the whole foundation of the Catholic Church and the Christian Church. And they've done this, they've set this up to actually do this against the Most High's chosen people. Pope Nicholas V issued the papal bull, Dum Diversas, on the 18th of June, 1452. It authorized Alfonso V of Portugal to reduce any Saracens, Muslims, and pagans, and any other unbelievers to perpetual slavery. Now, the key here is pagans. To them, anyone that doesn't believe in their Catholic Church is a pagan. And see, they were going around into Ireland, subjugating everyone there, and they were calling them pagans as they were building their churches on top of all these so-called pagan sites, trying to suck up the ley line energies. They pretty much copied the religious order of the Druids and said they were bringing something new when they weren't. They took the Irish or the Israelite Bible, said it was theirs, just anglicized it and threw some of their names in there, changed it up a little bit, tried to make it seem as if they were the original people, all the while they were suppressing our history. And we'll get into that also. We understand that because of the videos we've been doing for the last, couple months, shows you in these books about the things that they've been doing, the things that they've been suppressing. But the whole thing was about perpetual servitude until different. That's what the dumb diverse is until different. The time is surely coming when things are going to be changing and things are going to be different. The Father is on he's moving already. He's moving already. He's waking up his people. He's giving us knowledge and understanding. He's preparing the way for the sure destruction that's coming worldwide. That's why you see every time that we get more understanding, every time the Most High gives us our records back, gives us more understanding, all of a sudden there's a huge commotion in the world. Just look back at the news in the last week and you'll see more events starting to, fester again, starting to make, their rounds again. There's certain events that are going on, and it started within the last week. Just look at the news and look at how things have gotten worse and worse. But it all coincides with him giving us more knowledge and understanding. Him giving us a lot of the esoteric hidden knowledge that was given to Adam, given to Enoch, given to Noah, given to Moses, given to Abraham, given to David, given to Solomon. We are regaining our understanding. We're regaining our knowledge. And that was actually part of the prophecies. Part of the prophecies in other books we will get into right now. So, church, you've done your job. Your job was to keep us in perpetual servitude until the end. And your end is now becoming manifested. So when you see articles about the church being racist against so-called black people, you know why. Because right here, it's telling you that was their whole agenda from the jump. But see, people don't, they ignore all that. They just ignore all that. Oh, yeah, well, that's not true. Oh, well, we're sorry. Keep your sorries. We don't want your apologies. We don't want your sorries. We want the Most High to come here and do work. That's what we want. And that's what we pray for. We don't pray for reconciliation because there's no reconciliation for the things that you've done. And you really don't mean it anyways. Because when you could have done something about it, you would have. But you still don't. That's why the Most High has made it. He beat us down so much that we have realized that, hey, these people aren't going to do anything for us. We need to turn back to the Father. Understand that he has our best interest in heart. And he's the only one that has our best interest in heart because the whole world is confederate against us. Just like here in 1 Nephi 13. It says, I behold many nations and kingdoms. And he said unto me, these are the nations and the kingdoms of the Gentiles. And it came to pass that I saw among the nations of the Gentiles the formation of a great church. There's your Catholic Church. And the angel said unto me, behold, the formation of a church, which is most abominable above all other churches, which slayeth the saints of the Most High, yea, and tortureth them, and bindeth them down, and yoketh them with a yoke of iron, and bringeth them down into captivity. Dum diversas. And it came to pass that I beheld this great and abominable church, and I saw the devil, that he was the founder of it. Dum diversas. And then you look at that article about the negative things they were saying about so-called black people. And then people are, oh, you need to apologize. He doesn't. Why would he apologize? That's their whole agenda. And people, you can ignore it. You've been ignoring it. You've been able to ignore it. But the Most High is definitely going to keep on exposing you. And pretty soon, you won't be able to ignore it anymore. Keep on going to your Sunday services. Keep on seeing where that's going to get you. Now, I got this comment because this is what Esau and the Gentiles have been able to do. This is why you guys have been able to sleep so well at night, because you suppressed our history and you made a false history. And that's what you guys, you try to use this to actually give yourselves more standing and make it seem like the things that we're saying aren't true. But we're about to blow this out the water tonight. We're going to blow this garbage that you guys have been saying and being able to get away with out of the water tonight. And these are the things that the Most High is doing, exposing your BS. So the Black Celts book. I took the picture. You can see what book, what he was video he was commenting on. This guy, he comes in, says his stuff, and leaves like he's some kind of a scholar, I guess. He thinks. Go, this is just more Afrocentric revisionist propaganda. Of course, there were Mediterraneans and African peoples transplanted all over the European world by the Romans. But the existing tribes of ancient Britannia were not black. Thousands of years of actual historical documentation and real information from primary sources refute most of the claims in this book. Yeah. I'm sure these primary sources you guys are always referring to are Greeks and Romans. Because, see, all the real primary sources are probably hidden underneath the Vatican. See, history did not start when you white people showed up on the lands. But see, for you guys, it did, because you don't have a history before that. But see, for us, we have a history that goes back thousands of years before that. See, what you did was very ingenious. Our history started in slavery. That's what you guys say. And then we don't have any history before the Hamites caught us and threw us on ships and sent us over here. We have no history before that. But we do. See, you don't have a history before that. That's the problem. You just switched it up. You gave us your non-history, and you took our deep, rich history for yourselves. That's exactly what's happened. You just took our rich history for yourself and gave us your non-existent history. And we'll get into that right now. So again, here, same comment right here. This is what I said back to him. I have primary sources. What's your point? All we've gotten is so-called white-centric, his story based on lies. Jeremiah 16:19. O Lord, my strength and my fortress and my refuge. In the day of affliction, the Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit. So go believe the lies your fathers have told you. See, you guys never break this scripture down. If this scripture, you guys say you love the Bible and you believe every word in it, then why at the end is it saying that you Gentiles are going to say that your fathers have inherited lies? It doesn't say some of you. It says Gentiles, all of you who are outside of the Most High's chosen people. You've all inherited lies. Now, some of the Gentiles are actually being called to embrace the truth, and that's a beautiful thing. But the rest of you who are like this guy, inheriting lies, have inherited lies, and still believes that these lies have some validity, and wants to come onto our platform and make comments like this, like he knows something. Hold on. I'm sorry. The thousands of us are all wrong. But this guy, Lee here, he's right. All the thousands of us who do research and read other alternative histories and materials, we're all wrong. But Lee here, he's correct. Right? See, this is something I'm sure we've all noticed. Okay? If you have information and it's supposedly evil, why? And it's okay if you got information and it's evil, like these books of Kabbalah and these other things. If it's evil, why is it so expensive? Wouldn't evil information be cheap because pretty much the devil wants to pretty much disseminate this information to everybody? If it's evil and horrible, why are the books so expensive? See, this world gives you all of the evil information for free, and it's readily available. You can go get books on ish, hella cheap, and there's plenty of it. You can get plenty of information about, white Greek, white Europeans, the Greeks, Greek mythology. You can get all that information, no problem. Hella cheap, plenty of it. You can get American history, stuff on George Washington, Thomas Jefferson. You get any information you want, hella cheap, no problem. See, because that information is a bunch of BS, it's a bunch of lies. And that's what they want to push. So therefore, it's easy to get. The information they don't want you to get will benefit you, Hebrews. It benefits your people. That information is hella hard to find. And if you can find it, it's very expensive. So you got to think everything is the opposite. The information they want you to have in this evil world that was given to Satan to run, is very easy to get because it promotes his agenda. It promotes his narrative. The information that they don't want you to have that's going to benefit you, Israel, is going to be very expensive and very difficult to get. And not only are those obstacles set up, you're also going to have your own people that are going to attack you when you actually try to go after your own information. So on top of, so it gets to a point where we don't even listen to the Gentiles anymore because we're like, dude, they're full of it. So then they can raise up people that look like us that try to attack us when we're trying to find our own information. But they're very easy to figure out because they sound just like the abominable church. What does the abominable church tell you not to do? Don't read. Don't listen to that person. Don't listen to this person. We'll tell you what to read. We'll tell you what to study. We'll tell you what's good. We'll lead you to heaven. Nothing new. And they always try to demonize the one trying to get the information, the new information, the hidden information, the taboo information. They attack him and call him the devil. And this is that. And this has been going on for thousands of years. Nothing new. So like I said, so you can tell which team people are playing for just by watching their motivations, watching what they say. Because there's only two churches. The Church of the Most High, which is all about knowledge, wisdom, and high-mindedness. Church of Satan, ignorance. Don't study, don't read, don't do this, don't do that. We've got it for you. Just continue with the lie. Continue in the matrix. Now, we have primary sources, so we're going to get into a couple things right now to kind of, we kind of set the stage of what we're going to be getting into right now. Because what we really need to do, we need to put this whole thing to bed about Ireland. We got to make sure that we understand that we are the Irish. When they talk about, everything's in code words. When they talk about Irish, they're talking about us Hebrews. They're talking about us Israelites. We have to make sure we understand that, and that has to be a foundation at this point. Okay? Because also when they're talking about the Chaldees, they're talking about Ireland as well. They're talking about Britain. They're talking about these other lands. Just like Brother Kurimeo did that video, and I'm going to put it in the description box. I was listening to it again this morning. And what you got to understand is that everything has these code words. The Irish, the Druids, the Celts, those are the Hebrews. Those are the Israelites, the Chaldees. That certain land right there. That's talking about the Israelite lands right there. Once you understand that, then when you start to see things, you'll see like things will be like, oh, well, they got this information from Egypt and the Chaldees. Yeah, you got that from the Druids who came and gave it to you. You got this information. When it says the Chaldees, you meant to say you got this from Abraham when he came and gave you some of that information. When you know what you're looking for, it's easy to see. It's very easy to pick out. Because, they're trying their best to hide where they're getting their primary sources from. That's what they've been hiding. They've been hiding where these Greeks and Romans have been getting their primary sources from. They've been portraying themselves as the primary sources, which they aren't. They stole our information and then portrayed themselves as the primary sources. Very slick. But we'll get into that right now. We're going to talk about Pliny right here. Because I see his name all over the place when I'm reading. Oh, Pliny this and Pliny that, and oh, he said this and he wrote this and he wrote that. Yeah, he's gonna get exposed right now. See, you're not gonna be able to pull that, primary sources card BS anymore. Oh, this is Afrocentric. This is a new history. No, it's not a new history. It's the true history. That so-called black people were over there first. And they were the ones that set up the Druidic order. They were the ones that set up the colleges and the academic systems. They were the ones that set up everything that you have today. You set up absolutely nothing. You've taken credit for our inventions and the things that Most High has given us for far too long. And now you're going to be running around here like the emperor with no clothes anymore because we see you. Although Pliny did not distinguish between fact, opinion, and speculation in his 37-volume treatise, he could be credited with the creation of the first scientific encyclopedia. Yeah, right. Okay. For centuries, the natural history served as the Western world's primary source of scientific information and theory. How is that possible? That this Roman who wrote, after Christ was the Western world's primary source of scientific information and theory, when there were pyramids that actually were set up based off the stars, based off of a lot of scientific information. There are other pyramids over here in the Americas that showed, a lot of an understanding of scientific information, but they're giving credit to this Roman. You see, this is what they've done. They took all their information for themselves and then put themselves up on a pedestal. See, this is what happens when Israel actually works together. We already have this information. We have the books, the natural history of Pliny. We have this. So now when you bust out you need to have some primary sources. Yeah, we have primary sources. Do you? See, they used to be able to say that kind of garbage, and they don't even have primary sources themselves. That's why they can say, yes, it's Afrocentric history. Oh, okay. Well, let's talk about your white history real fast. Let's see if it actually can stand the test of some people actually studying and critiquing what you're saying. So we'll take a look at this one page here real quick, and we'll see if this is a true primary source here. It says, chapter 22, of the stars which appear suddenly or of comets, a few things still remain to be said concerning the world. For stars are suddenly formed in the heavens themselves. Okay, of these there are various kinds. The Greeks name these stars comets. Okay, we name them crinitae, as if shaggy and with bloody locks and surrounded with bristles like hair. Those stars which have a mane hanging down from their lower part like a long beard. Blah 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 blah. Good enough. Let's see here. If I need to look at anything else. What I want to look at is who he's getting this information from. Look at number 4 at the bottom. Okay, look at number 4 at the bottom. I got 2, looking for 4. Here we go. Number 4. We may remark that our author, for the most part, adopts the opinions of Aristotle respecting comets and meteors of all kinds, while he pays little attention to those of his contemporary Seneca, which, however, on some points would appear to be more correct. So, this guy's not he didn't come up with this information himself. He just pretty much copied it from Aristotle, the opinions of Aristotle. So it's not a fact. It's just an opinion of Aristotle. So I guess an opinion of a Greek now makes this a primary source. How does this make this a primary source? Was this where the original information came from? Did these Greeks come up with all this information on their own, or did they get it from somewhere else? We already know, and we'll show you later on. They got this information from the Irish or the Hebrews, and they just said it was them, that it was there. The Roman Catholic Church took all of our information, and then they said, okay, the Egyptians did this one. you get this information. You Greeks, you get this information. You so-called East Indians, you guys get this information. You Asians, okay, you guys get this information. We had such a deep history that it was enough, I guess, for everyone to get a little piece. That's why they had to take it from us and give it to everybody else. But see, this is not a primary source because this information was not originally from the Romans or the Greeks. But see, they've been walking around acting like these are all primary sources because, the Romans say this and the Greeks say that. You guys were not the originators of the information, so therefore you're not a primary source. But you've held yourselves up as that this entire time. But this is just telling you right here. All he did was pretty much regurgitate the opinions of Aristotle. Then where did Aristotle get his information from? Can we see that information? Of course we can't. Because then that pretty much breaks down the lie that's pretty much let a lot of these white people walk around here so proud. Like they're the ones who founded all this information about the stars. They're the ones that found all this information about building things. And they're the ones that came with all the information about the animals and all this great knowledge, understanding, and science and math all came from these so-called white people, these white Greeks. When it did not come from them. These things existed before they were even a nation. So don't give me that primary source garbage anymore. If you say primary source and you say Roman or Greek, get the hell up out of here with that. And we're going to prove even that some more right now. Right here in the Black Celts, okay? An ancient African civilization in Ireland and Britain. These were the people that were there before you Indo-Europeans showed up. As much as you guys don't want to admit this, these people were there before you got there. You just wrote it out of history, and there's examples of that coming up right now. Okay, so we got here. The Annals of Clemencois, the Labar Gabala, or the Book of Conquest, and the Annals of Ireland, compiled by the Four Masters, contain fascinating accounts of many ancient tribes. These books mention the arrival in Ireland of African sea pirates, otherwise known as Fomorians. The Irish annals are not simply a collection of old folktales. They give the location of ancient burial mounds and tumuli, the sites of battles, and other details which have been verified by archaeologists. But see, that doesn't mean anything to you guys because it doesn't fit your narrative. So therefore, there was no such thing as black people there before. Primary sources show otherwise. Okay, all right. It says the opening chapter of the Annals deals with the Irish version of the Great Flood. The remaining chapters, however, are based on historic events from the Neolithic Bronze and Iron Age. Indo-European speaking tribes first arrived in Ireland and Britain between 800 BC and 500 BC. So the question of who inhabited these islands before them still remains unanswered. Yeah, it's answered, but they don't like the answers that they got. It wasn't them. That's the answer that they don't want. Okay? All modern books on Irish and British history completely ignore any connections with Africa. So if you just ignore it and just write out of the books, I guess it never happened, right? Okay. The very old copies of the Annals of Ireland openly mention the arrival of African sea pirates, while modern versions have deleted any reference to Africa. So see, you guys are a bunch of liars. That's why you can still act like, it's just African, you're just making up stuff. Yeah, because you've hidden all this information. So when you talk all this mess, you come on this channel talking all this mess, just remember what you're going to be saying later on. Your fathers have inherited lies. The Bible is true. You guys are the liars. And that's why we're doing this video, and we're going to go through this information because we want to make sure we put it down tonight. We're going to show you exactly who was there before, the information that they had before, the fact that your abominable church took that information, hid it, and just spread it around to all you guys, who you guys think that you guys are so much better than us because you're walking around with not only our land, our resources, you're also walking around with our history. And the Most High is going to give it all back to us. And you're going to be just like you were before, made bare, and be the base of men like you were before. Nothing like you were before. Let's continue. Because you guys, it's your history. You talk about all these primary sources, but you guys are just nothing but write history that suits you, that puts you at a pedestal, that makes you the most desirable because you're so smart and everything else. I said, but you're really not. It says historians have regarded this story. Let's go a little bit higher. 160,000 Africans accompanied Gorman into Britain. Carthage, the ruler of Britain, was forced to seek refuge in the city of Cirencester. Gorman then destroyed this city, forced Carthage to flee to Wales. Geoffrey of Monmouth then tells of how the Africans allowed the Saxons to settle Leorgria, central England. Many Britons fled to remote areas in the western part of the island. Some sought refuge among the people of Brittany. We already know, in here they say Africans because they put all us black people together, but so-called black people, we already know it wasn't just Africans or whatever else. It wasn't just Hamites. Israelites were here too. Because many of the places still bear our names. And we'll get into that in some of the other books. Okay? Let's see here. Historians have regarded this story as completely untrue. However, the Welsh Triads, a collection of ancient Welsh tales about early Celtic Britain, also mention non-Indo-Europeans entering Britain. The Triads associate these invaders with Arabia. Before giving an account of these Arabian Britons, the evidence we have so far is as follows. The Irish annals frequently mention Africans entering Ireland and Western Scotland. The Irish annals also mention black men in connection with the Danes. Geoffrey of Monmouth states that the giants from Africa, when they inhabited Ireland, brought the large stones used to construct Stonehenge. The standing stones on the Isle of Lewis are believed to be the locals to have been erected by black men. Gorman of the African allowed the Saxons to settle in England. And there's more and more information. So all this information that's there, you guys didn't like it. So therefore, you just erased it from history. It wasn't that it didn't happen. It's just you guys didn't like it. So if you don't like it, you just erase it out and then say history started with the Greeks and the Romans, and they're the primary sources, and we just go from there. But let's show you guys a little something, because it talks about the annals of the kingdoms of Ireland by the Four Masters, okay? The earliest period of the year 1616, okay? Let's show you guys a little something, especially you Europeans who seem to think that you guys were the only people in Britain. There was writings there before you got there. All you did was translate it into your languages and then acted like it was yours from the beginning. You took someone else's history, translated it into your language, and then took it as if it was yours. And you've been presenting it as if it was yours this whole time. You anglicized it and you Latinized it and then acted like it was yours the whole time. Because on the left-hand side of this book, it's in a different language. Not in English, not in French, not in Spanish. It's in this language right here, the language of the Aborigines. Then you got the little breakdown in English at the bottom. And then it gets translated into English. So you just took someone else's history, translated it, and then acted like it was yours. That's what you guys do. But you don't tell people about the, how it was in the original language. So you can't be taking credit like you guys were there so long when it's speaking a totally different language, totally different than the one you guys speak. So it said, unlike, we're not like the other Hebrews that you guys can just say certain things and we don't research. Our people have come together. We've come together to get the actual reading material, to get the first editions, to get the books, so that when you come over here and you run your mouth, we're just going to hit you with the information, and then you need to go ahead and just skedaddle. You need to leave. We don't need you here. We don't need your opinion. We don't want you here. We don't care what you have to say, because you've lied to us the entire time. We're not going to waste our time with you trying to get you to understand, because it's not in you. You're just like a piece of meat walking around with no soul, with no spirit. Now, if you're serious about learning and the Most High is giving you a spirit to understand, beautiful. Come on in, learn, have a seat, watch, learn with the family, learn with the brethren. But if you're here to continue to push Greeks and Romans and them being the primary sources and everything else, you need to go ahead and go. I'm sure you can go argue with some other Hebrew groups somewhere else that are still on that level, that still want to argue about the Greek and, oh, well, in the Greek it means this, and we don't care. You can go do you for however little much time you have. Because this shows you right here. You translated someone else's records and took them as your own. If you want to call me a liar, prove it. We got volumes and volumes of, on the left-hand side, another language, right-hand side, you just pretty much translate it and then inserting your own names into, putting your own kind of names in here and act like it was your history. And this is talked about. We're going to talk about it right now. In this book, The Fairy Traditions in Britain. Now, see, many people will like look at these, oh, look at that. That's a satanic, cover. I'm not going to look at that book. I'm not going to look at that information. That's satanic. And oh, look at that. She's almost naked. Okay. And the information here corroborates what we just read about the four masters. At the top here, right in the middle right here, it says, at the period when the Tuatha Dé arrived in Ireland, the island was occupied by a race known as the Firbolgs, to whom the Tuatha Dé gave battle at the plain of Mag Tured, or Moitura, near Cam, where they signally defeated them. Now, this is it. This is going to explain what you just saw before. When Irish history was reconstructed in the 10th and 11th centuries on Christian principles, the Tuatha Dé, originally regarded as gods, were fictionally transformed into mortal kings and heroes who lived and fought in the ages before the introduction of Christianity. So they took our records and they changed it up. They reconstructed history. When the Irish history was reconstructed, they reconstructed our history. They translated the words from our languages into their own and reconstructed it and changed the Tuatha Dé from being like gods to being like men. But keep going. Into the details of this pseudo-history or fake history, okay, because they made their changes to our history, it is not necessary to enter here. The interested reader will discover the last recensions of this effort in the Annals of the Four Masters. Let me look really fast. Recension. Recension, a revised edition of a text. An act of making a revised edition of a text. They revised our history. And so again, into the details of this pseudo-history, it is not necessary to enter here. The interested reader will discover the last recension or edition of the text. Okay? And that's what they did. They changed it up. They translated it and changed it up. Okay? So again, we'll discover the last recensions of this effort in the Annals of the Four Masters and in the glowing pages of Geoffrey Keating's General History of Ireland. So they changed up history. That's what you guys do. I don't like the fact that there was black. Talk about black people before we got here. Get that out of here. Erase that from the books. Okay, so we got all this Irish history. You know what? Let's translate that as anglicize the names, anglicize the information, change this up, change this up. Okay, good. We're good to go now. We approve this message. We'll take this information now and we'll say that we came up with it so we can be the primary sources. So that when everybody has a conversation, we can always say, hey, well, what did the Greeks say? Or what did the Romans say? The Greeks said this because you guys don't speak Greek. So we'll tell you guys what it means because we speak Greek. Yeah, okay. See how they just written themselves into these positions of power. So like I said, unless you can explain all this stuff away, please don't come over here. Go do you somewhere else. Because we got too much. There's more. We have a whole lot more. So until you can start explaining away all this information, you have nothing to say to us. We don't care about your opinions about religion, your opinions about history. I said because you guys have done nothing but lie. You've taken our history for yourselves and you gave us your history, which is no history. Hence why you have to go to other people's lands, translate their stuff into your languages, and act like it's yours. Next, we got more. Celtic myth and legend, poetry and romance. Talking about the early Britons right here, okay? Who were the ancient Britons? Speculation has run somewhat wild over the question of the composition of the early Britons. Okay, yes, before you Indo-Europeans showed up, this is what we're talking about, okay? In case you weren't sure where we're going. But out of the clash of rival theories, there emerges one, and only one. I'm sorry, one only, which may be considered as scientifically established. We have certain proof of two distinct human stocks in the British Islands at the time of the Roman conquest. And so great an authority as Professor Huxley has given his opinion that there is no evidence of any others. The earliest of these two races would seem to have inhabited our islands from the most ancient times, and may for our purpose be described as aboriginal. It was the people that built the long burrows, and which is variously called by ethnologists the Iberian, Mediterranean, Berber, Basque, Silurian, or Euskarian race. Okay, so we already know, okay, when we talk about Iberians, you're talking about so-called black people. They're already there before you guys got there. Berbers, okay, we're not talking about so-called white Europeans. These were the original people, the aboriginals. So don't give me you're coming up with an African, whole makeup of a totally different history, because we're not. You came up with a fake white history. It made it seem like it was there the whole time. This is no new history. This is the truth that you cannot refute. So what primary source are you going to go to refute all this information? They're telling you themselves that they were so-called black people. Right? In physique, it was short, swarthy. Swarthy ain't white. We were the ones that were there originally. We are the Aborigines of Ireland and Britain. We are the ones who originated with all this information. Exoteric information, the stuff you guys all got, and the esoteric information, the ones that only a few get. Those were our people. Dark hair, dark eyed, long skulled. Its language belonged to the class called Hamitic, Hamites, so-called black people. Oh, unless you're going to watch that movie on Noah where they had Ham as being a white guy. But, they're all white. Everybody was white, But okay, whatever. Hamitic, we know Ham, so-called black people. Ethiopians, we can say Ethiopians are white too now. I mean, you guys might, because you guys say that, the Egyptians are white too, but whatever. We get you. You want to make everybody white, because before you got here, everybody was so-called black people, and you guys can't deal with it. So you change history. So now let's continue. Well, hold on to make sure. The surviving types of which are found among the Galas, Abyssinians, Berbers, and other North African tribes. And it seems to have come originally from some part either of Eastern, Northern, or Central Africa. So you're going to say all those places are white people too? They originated from there, they're all white? So then you know that the Aborigines were so-called black people. So please show me some primary sources that say something different. Not sources that came thousands of years later that had nothing to do with the history before. Let's see here. I want to start here. Start at the bottom here. Druids right here. Professor Rise inclines to see three forms of religion in the British Islands at the time of the Roman invasion. So you guys are coming way later. These people are already there, already established. Everything was already established before you got there, Romans. So it has nothing to do with you. But you guys just hate that. You hate the fact that we can do things without you. We can be totally fine without you. And you got to take that out of history. Because you want us to act like we always need you around because we didn't do anything before you got here. So again, Professor Rise inclines to see three forms of religion in the British Islands at the time of the Roman invasion. The Druidism of the Iberian Aborigines, the pure polytheism of the Brythons, who having come later into the country, had mixed but little with the natives, and mingled Aryan and non-Aryan cults of the Goidels. Okay, but the main point right here is Druidism of the Iberian Aborigines. So the Druids were so-called black people. Your own researchers are telling you that. So when you get all these pictures of so-called white people being the Druids, which they'll tell the truth, but then they show pictures of still white people, you know it's a bunch of BS. You can look up swarthy. Who knows? They're going to change swarthy to white now. Who knows? Because everything's white. Black will be white. Swarthy will be white. Right? Iberian's going to be white. But we know that's not true. But the main thing is Druidism of the Iberian Aborigines, the pure polytheism of the Brythons. Okay? Polytheism, huh? Okay. Well, we know that they believed in one God, but that's okay. They're always going to throw in their little stuff, but hey, whatever. Okay? We'll go into that actually a little bit more also. Look at the top here. Druids, and especially of the high estimation in which they were held. They were at once the priests, the physicians, the wizards, the diviners, the theologians, the scientists, and the historians of their tribes. All spiritual power and all human knowledge were vested in them, and they ranked second only to the kings and chiefs. They were freed from all contribution to the state, whether by tribute or service in war, so that they might be better apply themselves to their divine offices. Their decisions were absolutely final, and those who disobeyed them were laid under a terrible excommunication or boycott. Maybe this is actually why they didn't go into work with the Hebrews in Egypt, because we know that the Levites did not go into slavery with the rest of the Israelites because maybe they didn't show up with them to work because they didn't have to actually do anything because they were taking care of their work, which was the work of the Most High. Main thing, when they say things about polytheism and all that other stuff, remember, they always have to maintain, you have to come up with something in order to talk down on the religion, to talk down on our people, or to show why they had to destroy our people. Like, oh, they were, sacrificing, people, they were killing babies, they were doing this, they were doing that. That's why we had to come in and kill everybody. They always do that kind of stuff, and so it is what it is. But right here, look at the Druids and the things that they were doing. Druids, and especially of the high estimation in which they were held, they were at once the priests, physicians, the wizards, the diviners, the theologians, the scientists. So therefore, they must have had some scientific information. They weren't just limited to just religion. Where were they getting this scientific information from? They had a great knowledge of the stars. Where did they get this information from? They got it from our forefathers. So you don't talk about like a lot of these priests being like here in these churches being great as scientists and things like that. Because see, they compartmentalize all this stuff. We had all of this information. But see, they put the religious stuff in the churches only. And in the sciences in this section. And math in this section. Our people were good at all of that. So they were the scientists and the historians of their tribes. They were, they kept the oral history. They give all that information. But this is the things that the Druids were doing. And the other nations saw this and they just copied it and it got a hold of our records and they ended up taking it for themselves. You see, they get this information, but then they draw this picture in here for the Druids. Y'all know they're swarthy. You know, they're Iberians, but you still draw them like this. You know, that's why, you know, people have a hard time with the whole, you know, visual stuff, because they hear it, but then a visual shows them something different. They hear the truth, but then a visual picture shows them something different. We know that the Druids did not look like this guy, like white Jesus, but they're always trying to throw themselves in it. Next, Ireland, of the Chaldees. Is the brother, you know, brother Kurimeo brought this video out, and this information out, and this book out, and I said this is absolutely mind blowing. The more you read it, the more stuff just pops out at you. We're gonna take a look at a couple of parts right here, okay? Let's see here. Actually, before that, the Okads, or holy fields, suggest the idea of religious teaching. The Akkad of Genesis is not only one of the beginnings of Nimrod's kingdom, for from it, as an institution, arose the Akabas of Ireland, the Akkads of Arabia, and the academies of Greece. It's just funny how, you know, Greece is always getting thrown in here, okay? Like they were around during this time. You know, you got the Arabs, you know, you got the Irish, and you got the Greeks. Greeks would be way later. Okay? But check this out. See, certain people will actually give homage to who they're getting information from. Other people will go out of their way to hide where they get their information from. Check the part right here. It talks about, I don't want to start at. The breeds of the Irish, as may be gathered from Ninnius and others, were the same as the Druids and Bards of the Welsh. The three orders were the High Priest, or Chief Druid, who wore white, the Bard blue, and the Ovate green. Green was the holy color, okay, of the Akkad, of the Arabs, and was carried by them in remembrance of Al-Ras and Arim, the country, according to the Quran, from which they came. So Irim, Ireland, Irim, right there, the country according to the Quran from which they came. So green was the holy color of the Akkad, of the Arabs, and was carried by them in remembrance, okay, of Al-Ras and Arim, the country according to the Quran from which they came. So they gave homage to where this information was coming from. Do you see any homage coming from the Greeks? Nope, because they want to make it seem like they were the ones that came up with everything. Like Pythagoras was the first one that came up with math. And you got their guys who were the first philosopher. When I say Herodotus was the first historian. Like there was nobody who did this kind of stuff before. But that's what they do. That's what Esau does. That's why, Gentiles, you're going to come into the Most High saying your fathers have inherited lies, because they took all of our information and they think they're the primary sources, and they're not. And all you guys are running around here all proud, thinking you can come into any conversation and say, oh, I know there's like 40 or 50 of you guys here. I know you guys all study, but you're all wrong because you don't have the primary sources. Because only I'm right, because I'm white. Yeah, I'm white, and I'm closer to the Greek and the Romans, so therefore you guys need to listen to me. So I know you guys, might be 100 of you guys here, might be 1,000, maybe 10,000 of you guys here on this platform, but you guys are all wrong. You're just making up that whole fake, African American history that doesn't exist. Yeah, okay. That's why the Most High is going to pull your card and expose you. And he's already doing it. At least the Arabs gave homage and acknowledgement to who they were getting this information from. I haven't seen that from the Greeks. I haven't said them say, hey, you know what? We got this information from the Irish. We set up these academics, these places of higher learning based off of the example of the Irish, the Hebrews. You're not going to hear that because they got too much pride. A couple things I'm going to get into real quick. The secret of the Illuminati. And remember, once a great truth has been uncovered, one discovers hints of it in many works, in many lands. This is because truth is universal. It does not belong to only one people. The truth is given to us to take to the world. The truth has been given to the Most High's chosen people to be that light for the world. All are welcome to come, but you're going to come in order. The order the Most High has set up. You're not going to come on your own accord. You're not going to come on your own, the own way you want to come in. You're going to follow the way of our Father, the way the Most High has set this up. He set it up for his people to be on top, and he set it for you guys to listen and to cleave to the Most High's chosen people. You can repent of following, Satan and following the abominable church. You can cleave to the Most High. You can claim to our Father. But down here on the earth, you're going to cleave by following and cleaving to the Most High's chosen people. They're going to show you the way. There are esoteric and exoteric breakdowns and interpretations of Scripture. The world has the exoteric or the universal. Everybody thinks that they know the breakdown of Scripture, of prophecy. But this is showing you that there's other prophecies that have been hidden. That would be the esoteric. That this is why when we started bringing this information out, we were attacked so brutally. Because Satan doesn't want this information out. He doesn't want you to understand that there's more to the Scriptures than just reading it and breaking it down for yourself. We had the Bible, and I had a Most High blessed that Bible with all the precepts already in it, because there's a certain, way you're supposed to interpret the Bible. Well, there's also other deeper meanings and deeper understandings that are hidden in the Kabbalah and other books like that. Because the Most High, how should I say, he taught in parables. He taught in parables because some of this information and understandings is okay for the world to get. They're going to get a certain kind of understanding. But the deeper things are hidden. And the esoteric information is going to be given to few. It says, these steps lead to the temple, which man will enter before the end of the century. For it is prophesied that there is to be a transforming change in man in the very near future. An increase in spirit energy will bring this about. All those who cannot respond to this energy will slowly be burned away. Only that which is of light will survive. These are future prophecies. And as you can see, the fruits of them are already starting to be manifest. It's going to be an increase in spirit energy will bring this about. We know the spirit energy is here. It is working. The spirit energy is here. We're being led by the Spirit. We're being led back to our history. We're being led back to our understanding. We're being led back to the books that show us how we regained the power that we once had. All those who cannot respond to this energy will slowly be burned away. All the ones that say, oh, you're full of it. Oh, those aren't our books. Oh, that's not our information. Oh, that's evil. Well, who told you that's evil? I don't know. Oh, the church. They've always said it's evil. Yeah, well, the church has lied to us about absolutely everything. What has the church told you the truth about? If the information was evil, Satan loves evil, remember? If it was evil and it actually supported his cause, he'd give it to you for free. He'd make it easily accessible. But he knows it goes against what he's been teaching. It goes against his standing. It goes against everything, that all of his power. So therefore, he makes it very difficult to get, nearly impossible, right? And he makes it very, very expensive. And he sets your own people up, as well as the other nations, to make it seem as if there's something wrong with you, as if you're the enemy, when you've done nothing but try to be a light to the world and a light to your people. So only that which is of light will survive. Only those that are of the Most High, and the ones cleaving to the Most High's chosen people, those are the only ones that are going to survive. The ones that the Most High has preordained to survive. Here's another one. Okay, I'm talking about the book of Enoch. It is written, the chosen ones shall begin to dwell among the chosen. And these are the measures. The measure shall reveal all the secrets in the depths of the earth, and those which are lost in the deserts. Astrologers, numerologists, as well as mathematicians, have long been aware of the significance of numbers and the importance of their right interpretation. They speak of mysteries which man in his three-dimensional state can only faintly comprehend. However, it is also true that man has reached a stage in his evolution when he must begin to learn of other dimensions. For soon he will take a great step forward and receive gifts from the Creator, which he must know how to use. One of these gifts is knowledge regained. Not a new knowledge, knowledge regained. We lost our knowledge. We lost our understanding. We lost our esoteric understanding. And the Most High said, what? One of these gifts is knowledge regained. We are going to regain the knowledge we once had. This is not talking about any other people, because we were the only group of people given the knowledge in the first place. And we lost it. And then we were going to regain it. In the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves. What are we going to remember? Just that we're Hebrews? That the Bible's ours? Is that all we're going to learn? Or is there more? Many are content with just knowing that we're Hebrews. Many are content with just knowing about the canonized portion of the Bible, the books that are canonized by the church. Many are just happy with the Book of Mormon and the second stick. But there's more. There's a whole lot more. And the Father's coming to give us life abundantly. So again, this is all part of prophecy. What you're seeing today, knowledge regained. There's levels to everything, and there's levels to this knowledge as well. Astrologers, numerologists, as well as mathematicians have long been aware of the significance of numbers and the importance of their right interpretation. They speak of mysteries which man in his three-dimensional state can only faintly comprehend. However, it is also true that man has reached a stage in his evolution when he must begin to learn of other dimensions. For soon he will take a great step forward and receive gifts from the Creator, which he must know how to use. One of these gifts is knowledge regained. Knowledge regained. These are the prophecies, these esoteric prophecies that the world does not know about, does not comprehend, and will not acknowledge. Knowledge regained because, see, they've taken our knowledge, they took our history, never thinking that we would be able to find our way back. Because they've done such a thorough job of taking our history and giving it to everyone else. And us taking on their history. That's why when you try to tell people that we're the Hebrews, no, we're not. We're Gentiles. Oh, well, even if we are the Hebrews, it doesn't matter. Because Jesus came and died for everybody. So it doesn't matter. The things they've screwed our minds over so much. You see how that works. That they'll go out of their way and do everything they can to protect their oppressors. Because if they can't be saved, they don't want to be saved either. If I can't save Massa, I don't want to go either. We got a nice house. Is we sick, boss? Yeah, no, that's not us over here. You can keep those people in the Christian church. They can do that for you guys all day. But those are the ones that don't read, don't know anything, and they're just pretty much your lapdogs and do whatever you want. You want them to do. But this is the truth. This is what's happening. Okay, we are right here. For soon he will take a great step forward and receive gifts from the Creator. We're taking a great step forward by accepting the truth, accepting our books, accepting our understanding again. We've taken a great step to the Most High. So again, he will take a great step forward and receive the gifts from the Creator, which he must know how to use. We have to know how to use these things. We have to learn how to use our gifts once again. And you can't stay stagnant in the same place if you think you're going to walk towards the Father and he's going to give you your gifts back. You have to know how to use them. But if you're too scared to look at how, the instruction manual, then hey, that's on you. I'm going to chase the Father wherever he leads me because I want these gifts. I want to receive these gifts of the Most High, and I want to know how to use them. I want our people to receive the gifts of the Most High, and I want them to know how to use them. I want our people to be lifted up once again in order to be a light to the world. What the world doesn't understand is if we get lifted up and we assume our positions, you're going to be blessed as well. As long as you bless the Most High's chosen people. If you bless Israel, you'll be blessed. If you help Israel find their way back to the Father, you will be blessed. If you support Israel and their return to the Father, you will be blessed. The earth will be blessed. The earth will go back to her original state. Everyone will be at rest. The animals, everything will be like it was before. So again, because it's so important, for soon he will take a great step forward and receive gifts from the Creator, which he must know how to use. One of these gifts is knowledge regained. You must know how to accept this knowledge once again, so we can learn how to use the gifts that the Father is going to give us once again. Irish wisdom. The Irish, now check this part out. This goes with the Kabbalah, the information we've been talking about this esoteric understanding given to our forefathers. I read this before, didn't see it. After I read the Kabbalah and got that understanding, I read it again, and bam, it just jumps right out at you. The Irish Magian priesthood had always had this great learning. It was handed down through a secret cult of adepts from time immemorial. It was this which enabled them to erect the immense and perfectly proportioned Great Pyramid of Isa. It should not be any surprise to us that learning fell into a state of decline during the great struggle with Rome. It could not very well be cultivated under such conditions, yet, however, much diminished, it was never extinguished. We've been in a war with the abominable church. They've been all about ignorance and keeping mankind down at the bottom in a low frequency. But this shows you that it's not talking about Irish people, white Irish people. It's talking about our people, because only our people had this information. So it's just confirming what was in the Kabbalah. The Irish Magian priesthood had always had this great learning. It was handed down through a secret cult of adepts from time immemorial. A secret group. Your Illuminatis, your luminaries, your illuminated ones. And this was going on from time immemorial, from the beginning of time, from Adam. It was this which enabled them to erect the immense and perfectly proportioned Great Pyramid of Isa. So it's just confirming how this went down, how this information has been handed down to a certain group of people. So like I said, once you have the understanding, just like I talked about before, you can see this truth everywhere, because truth is universal. Again, I've used this a couple times already. You guys have seen it, but in case people missed that video, it's right here at the bottom, number 7. The Kabbalah was first taught by God himself to a select company of angels who formed the Theosophic schools in paradise after the fall of the angels. Most graciously communicated this heavenly doctrine to the disobedient child of earth, to furnish the protoplas with the means of returning to their pristine nobility and felicity. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to return back to our original position of nobility and felicity. And that's why you need this information, because that's what it's been set up to do, to return you to the Father. As you step to him, he has to teach you how to use your gifts so you can get your information regained, your knowledge regained. That's what this information is for. That's why it's so expensive, and that's why it's so hard to get. And that's why people buck up against you as soon as you try to go at it, because the devil doesn't want you to get it. From Adam, it passed over to Noah, and then to Abraham, the friend of God, who emigrated with it to Egypt. where the patriarch allowed a portion of this mysterious doctrine to ooze out. It was in this way that the Egyptians obtained some knowledge of it, and the other Eastern nations could introduce it into their philosophical systems. Moses, who was learned in all the wisdom of Egypt, was first initiated into the Kabbalah in the land of his birth, but became most proficient in it during his wanderings in the wilderness. Now that just shows you how the other nations had a small understanding of it. So you can get introduced to it, but you really can't get that download. You really can't get that great understanding until the Most High gets a hold of you. Why is that? Because it's our people's information. That's why they can have it. They can get some of this, they can get some of the information, but they can't really take advantage of it the way it was intended to, because they're not the Most High's chosen people, and they don't have the thorough understanding of it that you can get only from the Most High. So therefore, what do they say? Oh, it's evil. Stay away from it. That's not for you. This is for Ish. This is his. It's witchcraft. It's this. It's that. Why is that? Because they know they can only use it so much. But if you get a hold of it, all bets are off, and they don't want that. So therefore, portray it in such a negative light. And most of us are, so brain shackled that you'll listen to what your enemy say. You'll sit there and talk about Esau. Esau's this, Esau's that. He's a liar. He does this. He's a murderer. He does this. He does that. But you still have his mental shackles on your mind, and you won't break them off. So don't talk about how hard you are, how tough you are, when you still follow all of Esau's rules. A lot of guys want to act like, oh yeah, I'm down for this, I'm down for that, blah 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 blah. But as soon as you say, hey, screw those 80 books, I'm going farther. Oh hell no, we can't do that. Esau said 80 books, 66 books. I can't do that. Hey, I'm gonna check out this Kabbalah because I think this is my research. Oh hell no. No, and someone told no. Trice didn't tell me about the Kabbalah, so I'm not gonna teach that. Okay, all right. Well, who told you that was bad? Oh, Esau. Esau said it's bad. Oh, okay. So you're gonna listen to what Esau said? Yeah, I'm. Well, oh, I thought you said Esau wasn't shit. Well, I can't do that because Esau says otherwise. Okay, well, we'll continue to go. You go ahead and keep on listening to Esau. All right. So that's the whole thing. You hear people talking about both sides of their mouth. Can't talk about Esau and the white man this, white man that, blah blah blah. But then you conform to everything he tells you to do. Learn to think for yourself and learn to follow the Father no matter where he takes you. So again, Moses, who was learned in all the wisdom of Egypt, was first initiated into the Kabbalah in the land of his birth, but became most proficient in it during his wanderings in the wilderness, when he not only devoted to it the leisure hours of the whole 40 years, but received lessons in it from one of the angels. By the aid of this mysterious science, the lawgiver was enabled to solve the difficulties which arose during his management of the Israelites, in spite of the pilgrimages, wars, and frequent miseries of the nation. Okay? He covertly laid down the principles of this secret doctrine in the first 4 books of the Pentateuch, but withheld them from Deuteronomy. Moses also initiated the 70 elders into the secrets of this doctrine, and they again transmitted them from hand to hand. Of all who formed the unbroken line of tradition, David and Solomon were the most deeply initiated into the Kabbalah. Okay? Back to Irish wisdom, okay? Let's see. Towards the bottom. Well, actually, you know what? Let's just read it from our highlighting. The great struggle before mentioned, known as the Punic Wars, are said to have been waged by Rome against Carthage. This fact is only a partial and misleading statement, meant to deceive, and which has deceived up to this day. Okay. Hold on. It's a partial, misleading statement meant to deceive, and which has deceived up to this day. Carthage was an Irish colony, and the name is a mythical one, a compound Irish word, and alludes to man's besetting sin, sexuality. Philologists have found a striking similarity between Berber and Irish words in our own day. Oh, that's funny. I wonder why there's Berber and Irish words are the same. Oh, maybe because, I don't know, some of the same people? Maybe, right? You see, you can pick these things up when you start reading other books and you have the correct understanding. Okay? The Carthaginian phase was only a part of the struggle. The wars in Gaul and Spain were for the same purpose, namely to destroy the Irish church and to set up a universal church and papacy in Rome, through the medium of which Rome could rule the entire world. And that's exactly what happened. They took down our church, took all our information, spread it out to the other Gentiles, and then we don't exist anymore. All of our information is given to everybody else, and we don't have a history anymore. So therefore, we got to make up a fake history. Okay, you guys were nothing but slaves. And it's funny how, a lot of people say you can't read other books, but they'll use Babylon and Timbuktu to try to make that connection between, Israel over there in the so-called Middle East and West Africa. I guess reading those other books are okay. Esau says that's okay because that makes the connection to the narrative that he wants to push. It says the cause of these wars was said to have been due to the commercial rivalry between Rome and Carthage. This was only incidental to the major purpose stated above. After a struggle lasting for centuries, Rome finally, with the aid of England, succeeded in destroying the Irish church and papacy. But she has so far fallen short of ruling the entire world. This ambition of Rome came to a head and took on new vigor when a council of the churchmen was called by the Roman Emperor Constantine and assembled at Nice, in the year 325 of our era, known in history as the Council of Nicaea. Well, it should be Nicaea. That's why I've read it before. Those men knew that the Great Pyramid represented and what it was associated with our people, our information. That's what it shows. How they didn't have that information. They couldn't have been them. It had to have been someone who was given the Kabbalah, given the deeper hidden understandings. So every time they look at it, they see our people. They see the great things that we accomplished. And they hate it. Because they set themselves up as being the primary sources, which they aren't. So those men knew that the Great Pyramid represented, what the Great Pyramid represented and what it was associated with. And our belief is that it was their purpose to destroy it, as they did so many of the great temples and monuments of the earlier church. Now you know why they were destroying the faces, because they look like us. That's why many of the places I'm sure they don't let them go into, because a bunch of the murals look like us. You imagine the stuff that they don't let the people see in Egypt, and they don't let people see in the pyramids over here in the Americas and all over the world. You imagine what's really on all of these on these walls. They did not want to leave standing so much visible evidence of the existence of the former religious institution, which they were going to displace with a new one of their own making. So in every age since, the leaders of the Roman Church have had a conscious knowledge of the part played by their organization in the suppression of all knowledge concerning the history of the Great Pyramid, the purpose for which it was built, and who the builders were. It's all about suppression, all about ignorance. Now you're seeing why. To hide the true people, the true primary sources, the Hebrews, the Israelites, who are given the knowledge and understanding from on high. And since they wanted to usurp our authority and usurp our positions, that's why they had to suppress everything about us. And they still do to this day. And that's why, they make their speeches and they say all these, racist things, because it's a racist organization that's been set up to suppress the children of the Most High. Very simple. So when someone comes on here again talking about primary sources, all you gotta do is say, you know what? Where did the Greeks get their information from? Where did the Romans get their information from? Document that for me. Show that to me. Don't just, dropping names and acting like that's enough. Don't say Pliny, Pythagoras, Herodotus, and think that that's going to mean anything, because it doesn't mean anything to us anymore. Because those people, all they did was copy our information. Look here at the bottom. Her sacred literature has been pilfered by Rome, and her learning and mythology handed over and accredited to Greece by these same English Romanist tricksters. And the mythology which they have stolen and handed over to Greece, they have covered up and secretly preserved for their own knowledge, the very source from which it came. For as the Greeks said, they know not where their traditions came from, for they were strange to them. They don't know where their traditions come from because they were strange to them, because they weren't their traditions. They're ours. Again, her sacred literature has been pilfered by Rome, and her learning and mythology handed over and accredited to Greece by these same English Romanist tricksters. And the mythology which they have stolen and handed over to Greece, they have covered up and secretly preserved for their own knowledge the very source from which it came. For as the Greeks said, they knew not where their traditions came from, for they were strange to them. Psalms 83, to the T. Jeremiah 16:16. Your fathers have inherited lies. That's why everything is going to be at the end is going to be a shock. Because you realize that everything is a lie. All these things they've been telling us is a lie. Yep, we had to go through this a long time ago. And we didn't know the extent of this, and it's just getting deeper and deeper. It's amazing, isn't it, brethren? All this information, and we're still just scratching the surface. There is so much more. So much more. Thank the Most High for bringing us out of this pit of darkness. Thank the Father that He sent the Holy Spirit to us to open our eyes, to, hit our eyes with the Word every day in order to open them, in order to get understanding, in order to get the true context of what is going on here in the world. We are realizing that, as you get, we talk about the nag, once you get awakened, that you realize that this world is a corpse. It is a corpse because it only deals with the exoteric understandings of things. It ignores the spiritual understanding of things which give life. There are much deeper understandings that need to be brought out in order for our understanding to get life. The Father we walk towards Him. He's trying to give us back our knowledge and understanding in order for us to not just be walking corpses like everyone around us, but to give us life abundantly, to give us understanding once again, in order for us to be able to be one with Him once again. All praise is to the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledge Yahweh Shai. Shalom.